Hey y'all, Austin here with Outer World Media. Hopefully you guys are staying safe. Welcome back to another video, guys. I want to start off by saying some things that I learned this last week. Three things in particular. Number one, I learned that I need to look at the camera when I do these videos. I don't need to be looking off this way, down, up, or even kind of down. I have where I can see myself right here. And I'm not sure if that looks like, from your guys' perspective, that I'm looking at a different angle or something like that, so I'm gonna look directly at the camera. The second thing that I learned this week, guys, is that wind without rain is 100% worse than wind with rain. I don't know if you guys know, but New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, Colorado all got hit with a huge storm here, and yeah, it was like living through the Dust Bowl here in West Texas, guys. It really was, and it made work very, very hard on Friday. I know where I worked, we shut down a couple hours early and whatnot, just for the safety of our technicians and whatnot. So hopefully, like I said, you guys are staying safe and whatnot. And the third and final thing that I learned this week, guys, is that you can pick up a book by an author and enjoy it immensely. Every second, every word, every sentence, every paragraph, every page, you can enjoy the heck out of it. And it makes you so excited when you finish the book that you want to pick up another book by that author. And then you can learn that, you can go from loving a book to questioning why you picked up the next book. But I'll get into that here in just a few minutes, guys. So let's get into it as usual, though. What have I been reading? Well, like I said, we had some pretty bad weather here this last week, just a lot of wind and whatnot. So it's made for some very, very good reading time. So let's get into it. What did I read this last week? Well, I did pick up or continue and finish The Lonely Men by Louis L'Amour. That's probably not a surprise to anybody. I didn't really have a whole lot left to finish or to read in this book. What I will say, and I don't mean to sound negative about this series. I've enjoyed the series quite a bit. I enjoy every Louis L'Amour book that I've read. Some I've enjoyed more than others, but I don't think any of them have ever been bad. That being said, though, this book and the Sackett brand, in my opinion, these books are on a whole nother level. What I mean by that is they are a little bit more grittier, more I don't want to say obscene or anything like that, but they are a couple parts that were okay. He's going there. He's not going to paint a picture for you, but he uses just enough words that you can paint a picture in your mind, and it's kind of gruesome, if you will, guys. But I did finish this book number 12 in the Sackett series, so I am finished with the 2 books for the month, and looking forward. We have, I think, 3 months left. 3 months left. 5 more books to finish in this series, and we will be completely all the way through the Sackett series. So looking forward to next month's books. Next, I did continue and finish The Stand by Stephen King. Yes, the book that I was talking about that I enjoyed immensely. I loved every second of this for the most part. And there's a couple, and I talk about it in my review that came out yesterday. There's a couple tiny spots I was like, okay, I want to get to these other characters. Not that I didn't like them, but I just grew super attached to certain characters in that book. But again, guys, The Stand, and I didn't touch on this yesterday when I did the review. I think a book this size, you could have an hour and a half review and still not cover half of everything. What I will say is this book, I think, has proven to me I have become a character-driven reader, not a story-driven reader. What I mean by that is if you have great characters, I'm probably going to enjoy it quite a bit. If you have characters that I don't really care for, but the story's interesting, probably not going to like it as much as if you had really good characters and whatnot. And Stephen King does that here. Again, really, really love this book. Absolutely love this book. And I can't wait to reread this book at some point in time. I'm not sure when, but I'll get to it at some point in time. Next, guys, I did pick up Gerald's Game by Stephen King. And this is when I learned that you could pick up another book by an author that you really enjoyed that book. And the next book you pick up, you can question why you even picked this book up in the beginning, guys. Because, this review will be out this week. I don't want to dog on this book or talk bad about it or anything like that. What I will say is this book was just not for me. Watch my review. I'm very, I don't go a whole lot into the story and whatnot. Obviously, I want to be spoiler free, but also there's stuff in here. If a little kid, if a kid's looking, they picked up Pet Sematary or whatever, and they're looking for another King book to read, I didn't want them to watch the review and learn stuff that would ruin their mind. So again, Gerald's Game by Stephen King. Not really for me, but you know what? I'm never upset that I pick up a King book and whatnot. I have that one checked off my list, and I am that much closer to trying to read all of King's work. Once I finished that, it was Friday night, and I told my wife, I said, I just didn't really enjoy this one. It wasn't for me. Can you here? And I took those 3 Michael Crichton, John Lang books that I picked up, and said, hey, can you pick one of these. Just pick one at random, whatever, however you want to do it, and I'll try that one. So she picked one at random. She didn't even read the back of them. She said this one. I had them lined up like this, and she pointed and said this one. So I picked up Binary by Michael Crichton, a.k.a. John Lang. And I started this Friday night, finished this Saturday afternoon, guys. Not that long of a read. Font's pretty decent sized. I really enjoyed this one. This was like The Lonely Men, and this review will be out later this week. And what I mean by when I say it was kind of like The Lonely Men, page 1 all the way to the last page, non-stop action. Really, really enjoyed this one. This one, it kind of felt a little bit like reading, kind of like Con Air meets The Rock, if you will. What I mean by that is, you have, and I'll go a little bit more in depth in the review, but you have this detective who's kind of following this person and whatnot, and knows about this person that they're tracking, kind of like in Con Air. And then there's biochemical warfare possibly that might happen, kind of like The Rock with Nicolas Cage. Again, both great Nicolas Cage movies, but that's kind of what this felt like, was a little mix between those two. So I really, really enjoyed that. This was my first hard case crime book that I've read that had this label, and what I will say is, if all the other books are like this as far as how action-packed and whatnot, I think I will really, really like reading hard case crime books. And that kind of leads into another little mini book haul, guys. I know this is like the third or fourth week in a row that I've had one of these. But what can I say? With my wife being 9+ months pregnant, we don't get out a whole lot. And when we do, we just kind of go to our local, little stores, do a little bit of shopping, just kind of walk around and whatnot. So I decided to take my wife out today and whatnot, just on a little lunch date. And we were next door to our local Second and Charles, and I said, hey, can I run in there real quick and take a look and see what they have? And she said, yeah, go ahead. So I went in there, and I came out with 4 books, guys. Yeah, surprise, surprise. I wanted to pick up more of the hard case crime books. I just enjoyed Binary so much that I wanted to pick up more hard case crime books. I found 5 and put one back. One was, I think it was A Walk Among Tombstones. And it said hard case crime. I'm not sure if that's a standalone. I think that's part of a series, so I ended up putting it back. But I did pick up one. I did pick up 4. Like I said, I picked up, what is this? Seduction of the Innocent by Max Allan Collins. Again, and this one sounds like this is like a detective who's trying to figure out it sounds like the government or something like that is trying to ban like comic books or something like that, violent stuff, and there's a detective trying to figure out who's committing these murders, whether it's a writer or an artist or a fan. I don't know. Sounded interesting, and you know what? Again, I enjoyed the other one, and so I picked up Seduction of the Innocent. I did go in looking for, I think it's 5 Decembers or Night of 5 Decembers or something like that. It takes place like during World War II. I was not able to find it. I think I'm just going to have to order that one off of Amazon. Another one that I did pick up, and yes, these are all, again, going to be hard case crime books, is So Many Doors. This is one, first publication in 60 years. This one's about a guy that's like on death row or something. I don't know. Again, this book was like $2 and it's in really good condition, and it's 300 something plus pages, and it's a hard case crime book, and it sounds very interesting to me. What is this one about? I guess this takes place during the Great Depression. Sounds interesting. Guy on death row during the Great Depression. Again, sounds interesting to me enough to pick it up, if you will. And then next, guys, I got to give a shout out to my buddy, Kevin Toll. Again, guys, I do apologize. Allergies are acting up from all this wind and dust that we've had here in the area. I have to give a shout out to my buddy, Kevin Toll, not Kevin Towle. That's why I called him in the beginning. Kevin Toll, because Kevin is the one who opened my eyes to these hard case crime novels and made me say, hey, I might want to pick one of those up. So he's been reading this series And I mentioned it last week when I did the weekly update that I didn't pick any of them up. You probably could guess what they are by now. But I was looking and they had the first 2 books in the series. So I said, you know what? Kevin enjoys them. I'll give it a shot and I'll pick them up. And I picked up the first 2 books in the Quarry series, guys. I picked up Quarry and Quarry's List. Again, a little risque covers, and that's exactly how it was on Binary. And I don't know why. There was nothing with a scene like this in there. So I'm not sure if it's just to grab your attention or what. But again, guys, I did pick up 4 of these hard case crime books. And if they're like Binary, I'll just fly through them. But again, was super excited to pick up some more hard case crime books and whatnot and give those a shot. They seem like ones that are quick, easy reads. But yeah, guys, that kind of leads us into what am I going to read? Well, the end of last month, beginning of this month, I did pick up Dark Hollow by John Conley, which is the second book in the Charlie Parker series. And so I'm like halfway, and I kind of got like 25% of the way through it, and then kind of pushed it to the side because I had other books I needed to read this month. And since I finished every book that I've had planned for this month, the one that I had was, I think, Buffalo Hunter, and I'm not able to get my hands on a copy right now. For whatever reason, I just think Amazon keeps canceling my order repeatedly, so I'm just... Whenever my Barnes & Nobles gets it in, I'll go get it. But I did pick up Dark Hollow and are continuing that. I'm about halfway through. On my Kindle, I have like the first 21 books in that series. So I still have a long way to go in the series. But again, about halfway through it, I'm really enjoying it and whatnot. We just found out about like a local legend and whatnot. And it appears that Charlie is back home where he grew up. So again, enjoying that immensely and whatnot. Just kind of reading that a little bit before I go to bed at night. So with like 2 weeks left, I think, if I'm not mistaken, we have like 2 weeks left. I do apologize. Let me check my calendar. Yeah, we have like 2 weeks left in this month, guys. So I'm not concerned about trying to finish that and not being able to within the next 2 weeks. My concern is, what am I going to read next? So I'm kind of torn right now between picking up a hard case crime novel or maybe the next Clive Cussler book, or kind of going back for a book that I started and got like 500 something pages in and have yet to pick it back up to try it and continue and finish it, and that is Stephen King's It. I enjoyed The Stand so much that I'm debating on picking this one back up. But I know next month I have a pretty good sized chunker on board, which is the second book in the Wheel of Time series. So I don't know. Once I finish Dark Hollow, I'll kind of figure out what I want to read next, kind of see what I'm in the mood for. I don't want to tell you guys one book, obviously, and then pick another one. So that's kind of where I'm at this point, guys. Like I said, this kind of rolls into what's coming up on the channel this week. There are right now 3 scheduled book reviews. I'm sure I'll have 4 here coming up this week and whatnot. And then I am thinking about doing and let me know if you'd be interested in seeing this little mini vlog, if you will. I am kind of getting down in the days, guys, until it is time for my wife and me to become parents. So we have a couple weeks at this point. I do apologize, guys. I'm trying to figure that. Yeah, about 1 or 2 weeks at this point in time. So we're getting excited. We're getting antsy, getting everything ready. And so I was telling my wife, you know what? I think I'm gonna go out with one last big hoorah, if you will. And I'm thinking that I may do a Middle Earth marathon next weekend, possibly. Binge all 6 Lord of the Rings, the Hobbit movies. I'm really in the mood to read a fantasy book series right now, a fantasy book, but I don't want to start the Wheel of Time before me and Dustin had agreed on a certain date, and which is the first, and I don't want to pick up another fantasy series. So I'm hoping that'll scratch my itch. So I'm thinking about doing that, like a little mini vlog to show you guys and kind of bring you guys along with me and whatnot. Let me know if that's something you'd be interested in seeing. I think I'm going to do that, marathon binge regardless, but let me know if that's something that you'd be interested in seeing, guys. But like I said, just want to check in with you guys. This video is running a little longer than what I anticipated, but as always, guys, like I said, just want to get on here, kind of give you what the update is. Like I said, going to try and finish Charlie Parker book number 2 this week. Shouldn't be an issue at all and whatnot. And yeah, guys, I will see you guys later this week for those book reviews, but I will see you guys next week for one of the final weekly updates in the month of March. Not the final one, but one of the final ones. As always, guys, you guys stay safe, and I'll see you next time.